It is day 2 of ArabCon. It is Saturday and I'm about to go into the session. The first panel is on women of Palestine, who are the heartbeat of the resistance. Sorry for the background noise.
They get away with this stuff because they have money, because they have access, because they're not afraid. And it's a microcosm of what Israel gets to do because they're not afraid, because they're not punished, they're not held accountable. And so they're committing the Holocaust of our time. And I also want to tell you too, I'm going to go back to Gaza because I'm assuming you're all familiar with the Lancet study, correct? Right. 10 days before the Lancet study was published, I published a study. I put on my scientist hat in another life. That's what I used to do for a living. And I showed in a very scientific way how I came to an estimate of a range between 190,000 and 514,000 dead because of what Israel is doing. Of course, nobody listens to Palestinians when we speak, and it was ridiculed, and nobody took it seriously until the Lancet article came out, and suddenly it had a little bit more credence, but of course they still ignore it. And now Ralph Nader and some other scientists have come out and are talking about estimates in at least 300,000 Palestinians killed. As a matter of fact, I think it's higher, and I think when the dust settles, there will be at least 500,000 Palestinians dead, and then another 1 million maimed, and everybody's traumatized, everybody's messed up, like in horrific ways. This is, make no mistake, the Holocaust of our time. And the Democratic Party is funding it. So I get really, really upset when I hear Arabs and I hear Muslims talk about we have to vote for Kamala Harris. This lady says we don't want Trump. Listen to me. There are three white people burned themselves to death. They self-immolated. And I'm asking you to have enough self-respect to not go and vote for the Democratic Party. I need you guys, okay, settle down, sister. Every year, they put you in this position where you are terrified. Every election, they put you in this thing where you're terrified, and if you don't pull the red lever, or if you don't pull the blue lever, the world is going to implode. This is the mindset. They have conditioned the entire population into believing this. They have conditioned you all into voting out of fear, time and time again. I'm asking you to vote out of hope. We have another option. There are third parties. And how many of you think that it's a wasted vote to vote for a third party? It's okay. Raise your hands. A few of you. That's okay. I can't see you because I don't have my glasses on and I'm old, so I won't harass you over. How many of you are planning not to vote because you want to boycott the system? No. Okay, there's a few of you too. All right, first of all, to those of you who think that you not voting is a way to reject the system, you are mistaken, because by you disenfranchising yourself, you're literally participating in the system exactly the way the system wants you to participate. So I am asking you to take a small effort and use the levers of the system to sabotage it if that's what if sabotaging the system is what you want to do. Now, if a third party, if the Jill Stein campaign, if the Greens get 5% of the vote, that's all they need, they will automatically be on the ballot in the next election. They will automatically get funding for the next election. Right now, all of their effort, all of their money is going into just trying to get on the ballot because the Democrats are sabotaging them at every turn. The American people, when I say you are conditioned to live in this emergency mode, it's because most Americans every month have to make these urgent decisions. They have created situations in which families have to choose between paying the rent or paying for their insulin, between sending their kids to violent schools or just letting them stay at home and be ignorized. These are the urgent situations that people live in on a regular basis. So it feels familiar when you feel this urgency. I'm asking you to, for once, stand on principle, because if you can't do that, if you, in this time of genocide, in this time of Holocaust, if you cannot stand on principle, you have already lost. There's no working within this system. The only way that Palestinians, that Arabs, that Muslims can ever gain power in this country is by making your presence felt. And if you now, while we're all watching this live genocide, if you decide that you're gonna fall in line, they will do anything to you. You are literally telling them that you will fall in line, that you can genocide. You can make us watch our babies burn to death, their brains spilling out of their heads, but we're gonna go and vote for you. That is the only message you are sending. And I beg of you to not do that. I beg of you to not betray the hundreds of thousands of dead Palestinians, because that is what you're gonna be doing.
We reached out to many organizations back home in Palestine. Our calls went mostly unanswered. Now, we unfortunately are living in the heart of a full-scale genocide. Our mission to prevent, stop, and respond to these atrocities is more critical than ever.
Honorable community, our mission is to equip the medical community with the language, with the knowledge to identify signs of genocide, and to be able to speak up and to be able to fight to save lives, which is the essence of our oath to do no harm. I want to point out that in Gaza, the medical community became, or the international medical community became the source for information that's coming from Gaza, the source of reliable information. So the medical community has become the witness to the genocide. So our presence and our voices are extremely important.
The only thing she said, and I was with them on the phone, very hard communication. The only thing she said, "أنا مسامحاكم." I forgive you. I was thinking, why she chose that out of everything else that she could have said. And then when I analyzed it, I found that, and somehow we're complicit. The bullet that she was shot by was an American bullet that I paid for with my own taxes. At the beginning of the war, my brother, the youngest brother Muhammad, Allah yarhamu, was killed looking for water for his wife and his young children and his family. And our family continued to suffer throughout the genocide. We lost over 100 shuhada martyrs in this genocide. Now, from a medical perspective, Gaza before October 7th was a very difficult place to practice medicine. Just imagine after October 7th. Me and Dr. Nadal, we tried several times to go for medical missions But subhanAllah, it didn't work for us. My wife was able to go there, and I was with her almost on a daily basis. The situation there is unimaginable. It's something that cannot even, if somebody wants to write the worst scenario that can happen in a medical field, they will not come up with something that's happening in Gaza. And the tragedy is going on and on and on. Last week, my cousin, also he decided to stay in the north. They bombed his house, and he stayed under the rubble for over 12 hours. His son was within his arms. His son died. And it goes on and on and on.
I saw children suffer life-changing injuries, forever maimed, forever disfigured, forever disabled. I witnessed pure evil at the hands of Israel. I witnessed families lose everything, and that's not a figure of speech, literally everything. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to take yourself to Gaza. Take your family with you. Take your children with you. Take your parents with you. Imagine receiving an Amber Alert on your phone, courtesy of the Israeli army, giving you an ultimatum. You have 24 hours to leave your home or stay and take your chances with the bombing. What do you do? What do you pack? Where do you go? Gas is too expensive. You can't take your car anywhere. Wherever you go is on foot, and you can only take what you can fit in a backpack or luggage that you can carry. All the privileges we enjoy here and take for granted are now stripped from you. How do fathers feed their families? How do mothers care for their babies?
One of us up here is on the ballot in November. When we say vote down the ballot, that's what we mean. You have to vote senator, you have to vote your House rep in Congress. You have to vote for us. But you know who else you have to vote for? Is school board. Who are they picking the teachers, hiring our teachers to teach our kids? We have to make sure that we cannot forget the candidates below the presidential candidates. That is so vital. When we talk about strategic relationships and being behind the scenes, every single one of us up here has a direct line to the White House. And every single one of us has called the White House and has had very difficult, stern conversations with the White House. And we will continue to have those conversations, and we will continue to hold them accountable. Now,
because here, you have said that we are being pushed to a binary choice. You are pushing us to a binary choice because on social media, you have been attacking the choice that we have, which is presidential candidate Jill Stein. You have called our presidential candidate vile by rejecting genocide. You have called her not strategic because she dares to campaign in swing states. My question to you is, when our people in Palestine are refusing to raise the white flag of surrender, when our people in Palestine are refusing to accept crumbs, why are you? And if you want to hold on to the genocider, please at least do not attack those of us who refuse to bow down to the Democratic presidential candidate.
In my comments, there was an endorsement that was offered, but it was not given, right? There was a negotiation that was happening, and if you go look on anything I've written, particularly after the DNC, it has been very clear And as Representative Abed Nasser said, what we have are specific metrics. If they provide these metrics, we will give our endorsement. It's really not a difficult conversation. For me personally, literally the first thing I did when I went to Georgia is I said, this is unacceptable. All of these plans and commitments that we had are no longer on the table because you did not hold your end of the bargain. Again, a commitment to ending the genocide. Now, as it relates to Jill Stein specifically, my biggest concern is that when you call, for example, a representative who has identified what's happening as a genocide, a pro-genocide candidate. So, hold on. So, right. But my point is, what happens is, right, but she is a presidential candidate. I want to be clear, like, this presidential candidate also, like, had come after me before. And I hadn't said anything up until that point. I have tried really hard to walk this fine line. But my concern is that I really do care about making sure that if anybody wants to talk about this issue and say they are on our side, because again, if you say you're on our side, to your point, you're 100% correct. There should be a much higher standard and a much higher bar. That is my belief. If you say you're on our side, your bar has to be higher. And if you tell somebody, for example, oh, this person who is not pro-genocide is pro-genocide, what it does is it actually reduces our coalition. And it reduces the number of people on our side. I know it's not fair, but I want to be very honest.
AOC Pelosi has continued to endorse Kamala Harris and refused to sign the ceasefire resolution. So if that is not being pro-genocide, then what is?
So to be clear, we've had multiple members of Congress who signed the resolution, including those who allied with us, also endorse her. I'm not here to litigate like one member or another. My big focus has been mis and disinformation and how it plays into moments like this. I don't want our community to feel like everybody is an enemy and everyone sucks and everyone is the same. Because what worries me about that is then if you think everyone sucks and everybody is the same, then you're like, there's no point in engaging. And I've heard this at the doors. When we went canvassing, people said, everybody is terrible, what's the point of doing this? And I think we have a responsibility, to be clear, I want to be clear, only because I don't want us to fall into nihilism. I don't want us to give up the power that we have because because this is a disinformation campaign aimed at us. It is saying nobody is standing with us. And the problem is when you have candidates like us down ballot, and we go knock on someone's door and they say, you know, everyone's the same, everybody sucks, nothing matters. That's what it plays into. And that's my only concern.
To ban, we do it, but we amplify it a little bit more just to piss them off. So through just recently, the University of Michigan had a Board of Regents meeting where they tried to change the students' statements of responsibilities, where they are now going against their own rules and their own systems to suppress students, and that is being pretty far recognized throughout our university campus, where again, faculty are calling them out, students are calling them out, community members have been calling them out. And through time and time again, they try to implement these tactics to bury the Palestinian movement, to bury the cause of the Gazan people. But what we show through these tactics that they try to employ is that they are not burying Gaza, they are simply digging their own graves. And one of the reasons, too, as to why they are so keen on coming up with these new tactics is because they fear us for how little we fear them. And each time they try to arrest a student, they try to suppress us, dox us, send emails about us. I've gotten a couple of those to the campus community. We continue to mobilize and we continue to fight back because there is no sacrifice that will ever be big enough that we could ever make to extend our support to the Gazan people. We are indebted to them wholeheartedly. We, as American citizens, are the #1 funders of this genocide, and we should not once prioritize our peace or our comfort over the sanctity of Palestinian life in Gaza. So just recently, the university is trying to not only supersede their rules and their regulations to suppress the student movement, but they have now gone to the state attorney general to press felonies and misdemeanors against students who are participating in the encampment. And it's very shameful, but I'm also very proud to say that I'm one of those students. So, just as though they try to implement repression tactics, and anytime they try to dox students, we respond by what? We get a cake, and we celebrate, and we sing happy birthday. Despite it's nobody's birthday, but it's to show that no matter what they do, there is no such thing as burying the Palestinian movement. There is no such thing as suppressing the Palestinian movement. It is ever living, and it will continue to grow. So I would like to end with that there is no bravery in being a witness, there is only bravery in resistance, and I hope that resistance seeps through every single one of you guys here till the end of time. Of those scenes will get them to move. And so one thing that we have been able to articulate to them is that if the masses of our corpses has not moved you yet, then our collective power will. It will be done by force. And just as we apply this concept to administrators, we also apply this concept to any entity that is complicit in the genocide of the Palestinian people, and this extends to the Democratic Party especially. It is consequences that will move them. It is not dialogue, not negotiations. You cannot negotiate Palestinian life. The consequences is what will get them to understand that Palestinian life has value, that you will be punished for it. And the Democratic Party must lose this November in order to understand that we will fight for Palestinian lives from every corner of the world, from every entity, and that they will face repercussions.
Outfit vendors at ArabCon. Here for artwork by Valley. Thank you. Hey there, so the sessions for the Saturday of ArabCon have officially closed, and now we have a bit of downtime to get ready for the ADC Gala, which is this evening. I am resting a bit in my hotel, and I'm going to get ready, change my clothes, and then head over to the location of the gala, which is a place we haven't been to yet. I am excited. And now we are at the gala at the Bint Jbeil Cultural Center. We are at the gala dinner. We got Palestinian olive oil as a takeaway gift for this gala.
We have bared witness to the atrocities that we have the luxury of watching from the comfort of our homes, not knowing if they would return.
To leave my patients alone when he was ordered to leave.
This award to the students of Bezit and the rest of occupied Palestine who face constant brutal arrests, raids, and assassinations by Israeli apartheid forces. And to our student prisoners, among them being Dayan Kayed and Ahmed Kayed, siblings and students of Bezit University, both currently in Zionist prisons without charge or trial. We will continue the struggle for them and for the rest of our people in Palestine until we see it free from the river to the sea.
Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. No matter how your smile is infectious and your teeth are white, they will not hide the blood of 20,000 Palestinian children. Kamala Harris, you are a war criminal. You belong to the Hague, not to the White House.
Of liberation, and the more that I saw these images day in and day out, I realized that my heart was being opened by the Palestinian people. I I was experiencing a daily emotional pendulum between grief and rage, countless tears of utter disbelief watching this genocide take place. I was researching the Nakba, deconstructing Zionism, crying with friends, watching videos, learning about how colonization, capitalism, white supremacy need each other to exist, and how they were at the root of the Nakba 76 years ago that never ended for Palestinian people. I was taking it all in, and I was silent. I didn't want to be labeled anti-Semitic. I didn't want to offend anyone. I didn't want to risk the potential of financial repercussions by taking a public stance. I didn't want to lose fans. I was still thinking about me. And all of this initial fear that I had was backed up by the fact that nobody in the music industry had said anything. The October days continued, my pain was boiling over. I found it almost impossible to perform night after night and pretend like I was okay. I was not okay.
Today is the final day of ArabCon. I'm actually running really late, so I'm about to head into the session.
After October 7th, we did see an increase in the number of employees, of people losing their jobs over social media posts. And it felt that this was not something spontaneous, that this was something organized, something that may have been planned. That's when we began reaching out to experts, HR experts, DEI experts, and I want to recognize Dr. Ed Hassan all the way in the back, who supported ADC. Thank you, Dr. Ed. He came in with some advice and personally, basically said, if you're hearing about, once we receive a legal case, that's the end of the assembly line. What's going on at the beginning that is allowing this to happen? And that's when I quickly learned about all the trainings these HR professionals receive, all the involvement of the ADL in their definitions, in their handbooks, and what's anti-Semitism, and the targeting, and even some employees being targeted to report their employees for something as basic as a post or wearing a keffiyeh. That's really an issue we do have to tackle. Through Ed's support, we put together a website, aaerg.org, our American Employee Resource Group, which gives employees the tools to tackle these issues before it's too late. Like, get it on the front end, how to get involved with the HR people, with the DI people, so we're not seeing cases, we're not seeing discrimination on that end. So thank you, Dr. Ed, for all the work in helping us launch this. Appreciate it.
Who is proud and who has walked with us for decades? Who is a medical doctor who knows that our bodies cannot be healed under a broken healthcare system in the United States, and therefore she went as a medical doctor and embraced environmental.
Zainab, bespectacled, he removes his glasses, gestures at taking off his vest as proof that he's hiding neither scratch nor wound. Why?
Fallacy of Western democracy. The truth about impunity and the violation of US law, double standard and hypocrisy. The truth about Zionist collusion and intrusion in the US and Western governments. So speak up, stand up, and remember, the ripple effect of your voice reverberates in all of us and in Palestine. We won't be defined by our occupiers. We won't be defined by their talking points and their Zionist agendas.
This is what freedom looks like.
This is what freedom looks like.
Freedom for Gaza.
Freedom for Gaza.
Freedom for Palestine.
Freedom for Palestine.
Freedom here in the US of A. Palestine will be free. And this is where it starts.
It is such an honor to be here. This is ground zero for the resistance for freedom, justice, peace, and an end to the outrageous genocide being conducted not just by the state of Israel, but by the war criminals here in the USA.
ArabCon has officially wrapped, so I am going to process a bit and I will come back with my takeaways.